Please welcome to the inbound stage, Brian Halligan and Dharmesh Shah.
Much less dramatic entrance than yesterday. Very disappointing, actually, isn't it? I prefer the helicopter and the ACDC.
Yeah, that was actually fun.
Pretty cool. How's everybody doing today? All right. Let's give a shout out to Rand Fishkin, David Meerman Scott. Those two were awesome yesterday. Thought they rocked. Love those guys. Okay, I have a small confession. So David Meerman Scott told a little confession yesterday about he's got a bit of a bathroom issue. Right? You remember the bathroom issue? I have a similar issue. It turns out that the Halligan men, we have an issue that our bladders are very close to our eyes. Very unusual thing. Happens in Irish men a lot. And something very strange happened with my bladder and my eyes yesterday. So after we did our part at the presentation yesterday morning, we were very nervous when we did it. We had our rockin' orange tracksuits on, 110% polyester, so like covered in sweat. We were sitting over there listening to David Meerman Scott, and then when Cyndi Lauper got up on stage, that bladder in my eyes, there was something magical that happened when she sang that blues song, and the tears just rolled down my face. It was a magical, magical moment for me in HubSpot history for some reason. I didn't think Cyndi was good. I thought she was great. Who's with me? Who thought Cyndi was awesome? Okay. Far exceeded my expectations. She was great. I'll tell you another little secret about Cyndi Lauper while I'm on the Cyndi Lauper topic. So at HubSpot, you think you're CEO of HubSpot, you think, well, you've got a lot of power. You make all the decisions at HubSpot. But in reality, you don't have any power at all. And the way it really works is the marketing department has all the power inside of HubSpot. And when the marketing department told me that they were going to have Cyndi Lauper come and perform as the first artist, I cringed a little. I was like, Cyndi Lauper? What about some Grateful Dead thing? You know, Deadhead, you know? What about Further, The Dead, Dark Star Orchestra, something really like, and it didn't even want to respond. I got one of these, dude, you know, like dude, not even in the realm of possibility, but I thought she was just great. Okay, so today we're just thrilled to be here, and there's three topics I want to hit, three subjects I want to cover with you. The first subject I want to hit, and I have a little water, is I want to talk a little bit about inbound marketing. Talk about the last 6 years of inbound marketing, how Dharmesh and I came to this inbound marketing thing, where we're at, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is where's inbound marketing going? What's the next six years of inbound marketing look like? What's the next wave of marketing innovation that's coming? And really sort of set the stage for the future of inbound marketing. And then what I want to talk about is what HubSpot's going to do to sort of power this next phase of inbound marketing. How's that sound? Okay? All right. Okay, so to tell the story about inbound marketing, and for those of you of HubSpot, you've heard this a billion times, so just close your ears, but there's a lot of people in the room who haven't heard it. I'm going to tell you sort of how Dharmesh and I came to the inbound marketing conclusion. And I like telling this story because it gives me a great excuse to put a big picture of my dad on the slide. That's my dad. And then it gives me an opportunity to put myself on a slide too. And what's cool about my dad and me, the story about my dad and me that really helps tell the inbound marketing story is when I think about how my dad sort of lived and shopped and learned and sort of worked and how he lived his daily life and the inputs into his life, he got a lot of mail, he watched a lot of television, he read 2 newspapers a day, and he talked on the phone a lot. And those were sort of the inputs into my dad and into his life, and that's how he worked. Those were his tools. And I just think about myself, and I think about all of you, and it's just this like tectonic shift in the fabric of the way we kind of work and shop and learn. There's this massive transformation that's going on. And the inputs into myself and into all of you are radically different than the inputs into our parents' generation. In this pace of change in the way we live and shop and work and learn, seems to be accelerating. It doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. So the first sort of observation that led us to inbound marketing is this big sort of shift in the pattern of shopping and learning. And the tricky part about this shift for marketers is that it's constantly changing. It's hard for marketers to kind of keep up. Marketers have to keep transforming the way they market to kind of match the way humans actually shop and learn. There's always some new thing they have to figure out. So that's sort of the first problem or observation that led us to inbound marketing. Similar to that, another way humans are changing a lot is that all of us, we're getting very clever at blocking out that traditional marketing playbook. Okay, so most of us here were marketers, and we got to where we are because we're really good at implementing this traditional marketing playbook. Telemarketing, mailing stuff to people, email marketing, advertising on the web, PR, TV ads, radio ads, that's sort of the standard marketing playbook. The big shift that's going on is that humans are getting very good at blocking this stuff out. And let me give you a couple of examples of what I mean. So let's just take my dad. My dad went to work every day, and he used the phone a lot. I used to go to work with him. He used the phone a lot. That was the main tool for him. He called Washington, D.C. a lot. He called overseas a lot. He was on the phone all the time. And if you were a marketer and you wanted to call my dad, you wanted to reach him and market to him, it was pretty straightforward. You could call 411. You could get his home number. You could get his work number. Just give him a call. He'd pick up the phone. Now, myself, I hate the phone. My least favorite application on my iPhone is this green one in the corner with the phone on it. I hate the phone. The only people whose phone calls I return are my investors. And the only reason I say that is because my investors are in the room. So not only do I not like the phone, but my main phone is my mobile phone, right? You can't call 411 and get my number, and I have caller ID. So that mainstay of marketing, it's broken. It's getting kind of more broken every day. It's very good at blocking that out. Let's take mail. I'll tell you another story about my dad and me on mail. So my dad, every night, he'd get home from work around 6:30, and he'd sit at the kitchen table. And I'd sit next to him at the kitchen table. I'd sit in the bench. I'd sit in the chair, and I'd have his mail out. And every night, he opened all of his mail. And he got a lot of it, and he opened it, and he read it. It took him about 20 minutes. And we'd chit-chat while he was doing that. So mail is an important, easy way to reach someone like my dad. I think of myself and my relationship with mail, and it's very, very different. For me, I open my mail. I'll tell you when I open my mail. It's actually kind of funny. So I don't have an office at HubSpot. I have a desk, and the desk is like that big. And I know it's time to open the mail when I get to work, and I have a MacBook Air, and I put my MacBook on my desk, and it's like tilted because there's so much friggin' mail on my desk, and it's like sliding down, and I'm typing like this. That's when it's time to open mail. Mail doesn't work for me. You know, direct mail just doesn't work. So those are sort of two old plays in the playbook, getting harder and harder to do. There's a couple of new plays, though, that are getting harder, too. This playbook's getting harder and harder to execute. All of us are getting really clever at blocking out. Email marketing, a little bit more controversial. Getting harder and harder and harder to get traditional email marketing to work. Why is that? Well, all of us have spam protection on our computers, which blocks out a lot of email. But more and more of us use Gmail, and Gmail's got this new priority inbox feature. Does anyone use priority inbox out there? Very clever feature, very, very, very good at blocking out unwanted messages. So you really have to take your email marketing up to a new level to reach people. And it's, that play in the playbook is getting tricky. One more example I'll give you. I'm kind of droning on about these examples. I could go on for days about this. It's just traditionally, how do you advertise to people on the web? Pop-up ads or ads on the side of your browser. And all of us have pop-up blockers, so we're getting good at blocking out those advertisements. But now a lot of us, I don't know, people out there have this new technology called ad blocker that blocks out the ads on the side of your web page. Anyone have ad blocker software? Yeah, I think in a couple years everybody will have that. The point I'm trying to make is humans are rapidly changing the way they shop and learn and are getting better and better at blocking out the traditional marketing playbook. And this is a major problem. We're watching this problem very carefully. This is what's motivated us to going in inbound marketing. Okay. Now, not only is this traditional marketing hard to get the math to work, hard to make effective, but I would argue, and what I've observed, is what sort of happens inside of marketing organizations is if, let's say, you're doing a cold calling campaign or a mail campaign and it's not working, what marketers tend to do is they say, okay, it's not working, what are we going to do? Let's pour more money into it, and pour more money into it, and kind of jam it, right? And you just keep pressing harder on that same playbook. The problem that creates is like this whiplash effect for marketers. You over-market, and you sort of damage your brand. So it's not only that the old playbook doesn't work as well, it actually is starting to damage people's brands. And I came across a very interesting survey, a Gallup poll. And the Gallup poll surveys thousands and thousands of people. And what they surveyed them on was the lovability of different industries. So marketing was an industry, sales was an industry, doctors, all kinds of industries. And I thought that this survey sort of hit the nail on the head for me. It turns out marketing, ironically, marketing has a PR problem. And, but there's actually some good news about this. So you're probably curious in the answer. The good news on this survey that marketers compared to other industries is marketers are more lovable than members of Congress and lobbyists. Yeah, shout out, all right. Way to go. Good news, right? Well, the bad news is we're less lovable than stockbrokers like Bernie Madoff, labor union leaders like Jimmy Hoffa. We got a serious PR problem in the marketing world. So marketing is rapidly changing. Humans are rapidly changing. Marketing needs to keep up. Marketing needs to really transform. And so one of the reasons Dharmesh and I went into business together is we wanted to kind of fix some of these problems. And so what we want to do at HubSpot, and a big theme that we're going to push kind of going forward, is we want to transform marketing into something people hate or really kind of get irritated by to marketing people love. And this is going to sort of be our new kind of slogan, our new logo that we're going to push throughout the conferences. How do we create marketing people love? How do all of you create marketing people love? I want to turn marketing into a lovable industry. I want you to pull your customers in with love. So you might say, all right, that's interesting. It's a little touchy-feely for you, Halligan. How do you do that? Well, we're at the Inbound Marketing Conference. So of course we use inbound marketing to create marketing people love. Now here's where it gets interesting. There's a lot of noise around what's really inbound marketing. It's a sort of a noisy term. There's a lot of people who have different definitions of it. I'll tell you what I think inbound marketing is, just stripping away all of the noise. The basic fundamental idea around inbound marketing is the concept of creating remarkable content and using that content to pull people in. Pull people in from Google, pull people in from social media sites, and pull people in from blogs. Turn marketing on its head. Instead of interrupting people in their daily lives with cold calls and emails and spam and stuff like that, how do you pull them in with great content? And the good news on that is I think all of you are doing a fantastic job. You guys are the world's best content creators out there. Way to go. Give yourselves a hand. Okay, so this is inbound marketing that we all know and love. This is the first 6 years of inbound marketing. What I want to talk about now is what's that next 6 years look like? What's our vision for the future of inbound marketing? We're all doing a great job of creating content to pull people in. What's next? And the way I think about the next 6 years of inbound marketing is if we use content to pull people into our website, pull people into our front door, the next phase of inbound marketing is about how do you use context to kind of pull them through the funnel, okay? Content to pull them in and context to pull them through. You're probably sitting there in the crowd saying, all right, I got you, Halligan, on the content thing. I'm doing that content thing. What's this context all about? Tell me about this context. So what I mean by context is I'm going to give you an example to sort of explain what context is. Who's heard of Amazon.com? Amazon.com, okay. Amazon.com is a company I really admire. They create marketing everybody loves, okay? And the way they do it is this clever application of this idea of context, where I think inbound marketing is going. And so let me give you an example. When my friend Dharmesh visits Amazon.com, something very interesting happens. What they market to him are books about how to write software and how to raise a toddler. And that's very interesting that those are the two things that they're marketing to Dharmesh. Very interesting. I've known Dharmesh now for 8 years. We went to school together for a couple of years. We've been in business together for 6 years. And I wouldn't say they know him better than I do, but they know him pretty darn well. You know? They really understand what he's all about. Dharmesh is a lovable geek. Right? He likes to write software, he's got a newborn baby, and he's raising a toddler, and they kind of hit the nail on the head. They really personalize that experience for him in a way that's really cool. Now, if I visited Amazon.com and they marketed those same exact books to me, that wouldn't be marketing I would love. That's not marketing people would love. That wouldn't convert me very well. Now, they do something spectacular when I visit Amazon.com. They hit the nail on the head with me, too. They don't market books about raising a toddler. They don't market to me books about writing software. I have no interest in writing software. What they market to me are books about the Grateful Dead, right? They market to me books about venture capital. They market to me books about the Red Sox. Don't give up hope. It's fascinating how they do it. It's like they're following me around all day and listening to my conversations. They nail it. And what's so cool about it is they create this context, and it's not just on their web pages when I visit their web pages. It's all of their emails, it's their mobile devices, it's their call to action. It's very cool how they really get to know me and leverage that information they know about me to create these highly contextualized, personalized experiences. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So you might ask yourself, well, how do they do that? Right? How do they do that? That's pretty clever. I'd like to do that. Well, they've got an unfair advantage. What Amazon's built kind of from the ground up is they have their front-end content systems, their web pages, their emails, their mobile, all that stuff, and they have their back-end sort of context systems, their databases, their analytics, and they're all kind of built together, and they're sort of woven together in one system. And what that does is super cool. What that does is the more I use these front-end systems, the more things I click on, the more emails I look at, the more stuff I buy, the more knowledge that context system picks up about me, and the more that context system knows about me, the more personalized that front-end system gets. And so it's that combination of the front-end content systems, the back-end context systems, that are very, very powerful. And the way I like to think about it is it's the content system is one, and you add one for the database back-end context systems, and it's kind of 1 + 1 = 3, right? It's a very modern way of doing marketing. I personally would love to be marketed like this from all of you, from HubSpot, from everyone. How do we do this sort of extreme personalization to pull people through our funnel? How do we create content to pull them in? How do we use context to pull them through? Okay? Then you might ask yourself, why doesn't everybody do this, right? It's pretty cool. Yeah, creating content, pulling people in. I'd like to do that. I'd like it so that when people visit my site, I start to learn about them, and every time they visit my site, every time they click on my blog, every time they interact with me, I learn something about them, and the next time they come back, my site, my blog, my emails, they get smarter over time, just like Amazon. The more you use it, the smarter it gets, the more personalized it gets, the more you want to use it. Well, there's an issue with that. And the issue is that most companies have their content on one system and their context on another system. And they've basically got a broken heart. Right? They've got a broken heart. And it's damn hard to create marketing people love when you've got a broken heart. Okay? Come on, that was pretty good. But seriously, what most companies have is they have these separate, and they've got really nice content systems for creating content and blogging and all this stuff, and really nice context systems, but they don't really talk to each other, and they don't have this network effect that the more I use the front end, the smarter it gets, the more personalized it gets. And that's sort of like a 1 + 1 = 2 situation, where I've got two different systems, they're both very powerful, but they don't really communicate, and I don't really get that leverage I'm looking for, that magic. So we talked to a lot of marketers about this, and the reality is this isn't really what most marketers' systems look like. They're much, much worse, right? They've got a really broken heart, and it's really hard to create marketing people love when you've got a heart that's split into a million pieces. And what this sort of looks like for most marketers out there, not all of you, but many marketers out there, is you've got 4 or 5 different pieces of really nice marketing software. You've got 4 or 5 different logins. You've got 4 or 5 different user interfaces you have to learn. You've got 4 or 5 different 1-800 numbers you have to remember, 4 or 5 different big bills you have to pay every month. It's kind of a nightmare. And then you have to hire a bunch of developers and try to figure out how to glue all this stuff together so you can create this next generation sort of inbound marketing, this context to pull people through. And so this is the state of the industry. This is 99.9% of marketers out there. They have this very disjointed, fragmented, a lot of systems on the front end, a lot of systems on the back end. They can't create this magic of context and personalization. So you might say to yourself, okay, Halligan, that's interesting. What about you? What about HubSpot? Well, the reality of HubSpot is we don't have it either, right? HubSpot's very good at creating content. We pulled all of you in with our clever content. We're very, very clever about that. But we're not particularly good that when you visit our site the second, third, fourth time, that we get to know you and we start to personalize that and really start to do sort of Amazon-style marketing. And so we've got a hole in our heart. Got a hole in our heart. Come on, that's pretty good too. Okay? And the hole in our heart is this context engine, this Amazon-style context system. Okay? And so we've realized we've had this hole in our heart. And at the end of Inbound last year, we sat down with our product folks and we said, let's fix that hole in our heart. And so we spent the last year, pretty much our whole R&D staff, which is like 70 or 80 people, it's a big team, working our backs off cranking away, putting the last piece of the puzzle into what we think HubSpot needs, this sort of context engine. It's a series of new applications we built sort of from the ground up to enable you to do sort of this next generation marketing a la Amazon. We're super, super psyched about it. We're working on it for 12 months. It's pretty awesome. And it's our biggest release in HubSpot. It's by far our biggest release in HubSpot history. And it's so big that for the first time ever in HubSpot history, we put a number on it. So I don't know if you know at HubSpot, we never put a number on it. But in this case, because we're able to really nail this problem, create this context engine. And what the context engine does is sort of listen to what your users are doing in social media, on your blog, on your emails, and on your website, and use that information to learn about you, and then really personalize that experience. That's been the missing piece for us. We're so excited about combining that content and context and creating that 1 + 1 = 3 effect that we're naming this new release HubSpot 3. Biggest release in HubSpot history. Okay, I'm gonna hand it off to Dharmesh, but just real quick summarize. So, first generation inbound marketing, the last 6 years has been about, you're all doing a great job, creating content to pull people into the top of your funnel. It's been great, we need to keep going on that. We're in the 6th inning of that game in my mind. The next generation of inbound marketing is creating context to pull people through the funnel. And you create context using this new release of HubSpot called HubSpot 3. It's gonna rock, we've been using it, we absolutely love it. Dharmesh is gonna show it to you.
Thanks, Brian. All right. So I work on the product team at HubSpot, and I want to dig into this notion of 1 + 1 = 3, because I'm going to have this theme recurring. We're going to really geek out on product stuff, just a word of warning right here. And the example I like to use is that the company we're really inspired by when we started HubSpot and then continues to this day is Apple, and particularly the iPhone. Now, before the iPhone came along, I used to carry around a camera, used to carry around some sort of email device. I would have that around. I have all these things, a GPS, alarm clock, like a bunch of stuff. And the iPhone comes along and replaces a bunch of those things. And that's pretty cool, right? I have a camera. I don't have to carry that around anymore if I just want to take quick little snapshots. I've got an email device right there, and that's pretty cool. And it was really, really nice. But it wasn't magical. That wasn't the magical part. The magical part was the fact that these applications talked to each other. And the best example is, yes, I have a camera on this device, and yes, I have an email on this device, but now I can take photos and I can email them right then. Something that wasn't possible before. So this 1 + 1 = 3 is not about the individual applications, it's about making the impossible possible as a result of these applications working together and creating these new use cases. And that's the magic of the iPhone. And that's what we've tried to draw into HubSpot 3. That's the recurring theme as we go through this that I'm going to talk about. And we're going to really, really geek out. Now, before we really, really geek out, just to show you that I have a softer side a little bit, I want to talk to you, just a brief excursion, so bear with me here. I'm going to talk to you about magical moments. Now, magical moments are those times in your life or your professional career that you look back on years later and you remember vividly. It's like, I remember, that was a defining day for me. I remember that day. Sometimes you know that's a magical moment. Sometimes you don't figure it out until years later. I've had 2 such magical moments in the last 6 years. The first one was graduating from MIT, which is cool, right across the river. Very proud of that. What I'm particularly proud of on a personal note, it took me 7.5 years to get my undergraduate degree. And I'm a reasonably smart guy. It took me 7.5 years. It took me 2 years, the customary 2 years, to get my master's degree. So really proud about that. But that particular day was a defining day for another reason. And it's the day that HubSpot was born, that HubSpot officially launched. So it's a big day in my personal history. So that's the one magical moment. The second magical moment in the last 6 years was the birth of my son. That's Sohan up there. And yes, he has a Twitter handle. Yes, he has his own 5-character domain. It's a .com domain. Thank you. And some of you might be wondering, well, Dharmesh, you're putting a baby. Yes, I'm putting a baby photo up there. I'm not above getting audience goodwill by putting an adorable baby photo up there. And I have tested this, by the way. So before Sohan, I've tested puppies. I've tested kittens. For the record, kittens trump puppies. Nothing against all, I'm just saying, statistically, kittens with audiences trump puppies. Babies trump kittens. And your baby trumps iStock photography babies. Just so in case you're wondering, it's a marketing thing or whatever. And so the reason I'm excited here, and the reason I'm giving you this kind of magical moment segue, is because this moment for me, right now, as it's happening, is one of my personal magical moments. Wait, it's coming. It's coming. And so some of you might be asking, as my wife did just a couple of days ago when I ran her through this particular script, like, Dharmesh, really, you're going to take a product announcement, however big, from HubSpot, and you're going to like categorize it as a magical moment, like the birth of your first son that I happened to birth, like that. And I walked her through, and she agreed with me, so I'm going to tell you why. She's like, okay, now imagine, all of you imagine this. Imagine that you started a company 6 years ago, been working away, you've got this really passionate team of really smart people that have been toiling away for the last year, taking on this crazy ambitious software project, the most ambitious software project I have ever been involved in. Crazy ambitious, working for the last year, nights and weekends. So imagine this, so you have that. You have a 60-foot screen behind you and 2,800 of your closest friends that you get to share this with. This moment is a year in the making. For me, it's a personal moment. Thanks for making this possible. So I'm going to... So now we're going to geek out. We're going to talk about the product. There are over 100 new features in HubSpot 3, 10 new or completely redone applications. We can't talk about them all here, because even as fast as I talk, I don't talk fast enough quite to, we timed it. Can't get through all of it. I'm going to talk about 6 applications, and the ones I've pulled out are the ones that really kind of demonstrate this 1 + 1 = 3. It's creating value not from the individual applications themselves, but from the connections between those applications. So that'll be the recurring theme. Let's jump in and take a look. Now, to deliver on this Amazon-style, highly personalized experience that Brian spoke of earlier, to really get to that point, one of the things you need as a marketer is you need one central database to put all this information. If the databases are separated, if your email database and all that data is separated from your leads and contacts database, is separated from your analytics, if all that stuff is apart, you really can't pull off this personalized experience. So one of the biggest pieces of HubSpot 3 is this all-new contacts database. Let's take a look. Now, databases, as you might expect, let you store basic information, name, phone number, email address, and of course, HubSpot 3's contact database lets you do that. The contacts database lets you sync with your CRM. So you can take the information that's in your CRM and pull it into the HubSpot marketing database. That's pretty cool. You can import CSV files and things like that. That's pretty cool. And now, for the first time ever, HubSpot supports custom fields. This is big news because one of the things our customers kept coming back with is like, we'd love to put more information into HubSpot, but we have this custom information that we track about every contact. We track industry or whatever it is. I'm thrilled to announce that HubSpot 3 now supports up to 1,000 custom fields. It's game-changing for lots of people. Thank you. So we're going to walk through. So here's the contact application right now. The cool thing is we can edit the data right here in place. As you've added custom fields, you can actually change the view, change the forms themselves, and drag and drop fields around and make these screens look however you want. So let's say that industry field is much more important to you than everything else. You can kind of just drag it to the top. Very, very cool. But that's not quite 1 + 1 = 3. That's awesome, but it's not magical. What would be magical is if we could store everything about the person in one single place. Every web page on our website that they've visited, every email that they've opened and clicked, every social interaction with us that they've had on Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn, if we could take all of that and stick it in one place and use that, that's 1 + 1 = 3. HubSpot 3 allows you to do that. Now, one of the challenges with this is you have lots of information coming into this database. How do you make it, how do you visually represent it? How do you make it accessible to the end user? And we have a beautiful, beautiful new timeline view of a contact inspired by Facebook. Let me show you how it works. Here, we have a chronological thing. So here are all the interactions this individual has had with our organization. This is them visiting our pricing page. This is them clicking on an email that we sent out. This is them retweeting one of our tweets. Everything in one central place about that contact. This was impossible to do before. It's possible now with HubSpot 3. Really, really big new feature. I'm very excited.
All right.
So let's talk a little bit about social media. I'm a social media geek. I'm about to cross 150,000 Twitter followers. Yeah, proud of that. Which actually means absolutely nothing, by the way. It's just big numbers better. So I use social media every day. One of the challenges with social media is that there's all these networks out there. There's Twitter. So you have something you want to share on social media. You go to twitter.com and you post a tweet. You go to Facebook and you post something there. You go to LinkedIn, you post something there. It's sort of time-consuming and a little bit cumbersome. So one of the things we fixed with the new social media application in HubSpot is we take care of that particular problem, make it much more smooth, much easier to do. Let's take a look. So let's say I'm browsing around the web at 1 a.m., as I'm often doing, as my wife can attest to, and I find an interesting piece of content that I want to share with my network of followers. Now, with HubSpot 3's social media publishing application, I can hit a button in my browser anywhere on the web that I'm browsing, and up pops a nice little window. And this lets me share that piece of content, a link to that piece of content, across as many accounts as I have across multiple networks. And that's pretty cool. Thank you. No, it's not this, yeah. By the way, as we're going through this, this is actually a good thing. Here's what we'll do. Because we're big believers in feedback at HubSpot, on the HubSpot team, I'm going to pause occasionally. I'm going to ask you what you think about something. Now, instead of asking you to raise your hand, because other people won't be able to hear it, like if there's like videos on us, this thing is going to get played to death over the internet someday. So applaud. Don't pander. If you agree with what I'm saying, if the answer to whatever I ask you is yes, applaud to indicate your affirmative response. But don't pander. All right. So moving right along. So let's say we can publish these multiple networks. Very, very cool. And Rand brought this point up yesterday. If it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I post this Twitter message, let's say, the odds of other normal people also being online at 1 o'clock in the morning browsing the web in my network might be a little bit lower. They might be slightly more normal than I am, on average. I know it's hard to imagine, but slightly more normal. And so what you need to be able to do is you need to be able to put the message in the system and queue it, schedule it, essentially. And the social publishing application lets you do that. What's really cool is it actually suggests the time based on what the system knows. So we've done some research on this in terms of what are the optimal times to send a tweet out, let's say. And as Rand was talking about yesterday, it lets you schedule it for multiple publications. So let's say you want to say, I'm going to send this out at 10 a.m. in the morning, and then once again at 7 p.m. to get coverage across your audience because it's a really important message. The HubSpot 3 social publishing application lets you schedule, it suggests the time for you, and actually lets you schedule multiple times. Very cool. Thank you. The other useful thing in social publishing and social media overall is getting some sort of analytics back, getting some feedback back that says, okay, I'm putting these Facebook messages out there. Is anyone liking them? I'm putting these Twitter messages out there, these tweets out there. Is anyone interacting with them? Are they retweeting? So we have very simple analytics based right in to this kind of central dashboard. So we can see all the messages we've sent, we can see all the messages we've queued, and we can see the results of those particular messages on social media in one central place. And that's pretty cool. Now the challenge, though, is that we get this out there, and social media is a hotly debated topic. One of the most common questions is, Dharmesh, does this social media stuff like actually really work? And the short answer is yes. I'll give you a slightly longer answer. And the thing we've been measuring, here's what we need in order to really kind of start believing in social media. So I'm going to ask you this question. There are systems that can tell you how many retweets you got for a tweet, maybe how many clicks you got on a tweet based on what the system is or whatever. And that's interesting. But how many people would be interested in knowing not just how many tweets, not just how many clicks, but whether people in your database, whether your leads or prospects actually engaged with it? How many people would be interested in something like that? Yeah, right? So it's not about ROI is not about the how many, it's about the who. It's about, is it my lead that's actually interacting with me? That's a helpful piece of information. I might want to increase their lead score if something like that happens. Maybe they're further down in the marketing funnel, in the sales funnel. And that kind of magic is what makes for 1 + 1 = 3. And HubSpot 3 does that. So here's the idea. Now we can look at any individual tweet, any individual Facebook message, and we can see who from our contacts database, which of our prospects, which of our leads actually interacted with this piece of content that we put out there in social media. Very cool. All right. That's not bad. Yep. All right. Now we're going to jump into like hardcore marketing stuff. Not that social media isn't hardcore, but it's less hardcore than what I'm about to say. We're going to talk about landing pages. I'm going to give you like the 5-second overview for those that are just entering the market. What a landing page is a page you put on your website whose purpose is to draw that user further into your funnel, engage them a little bit more. Often you put a form on a landing page asking for more information from them, like tell us these 5 things, in exchange for which we will give you this free ebook that's really cool, this free white paper, or this free download of a webinar, whatever it is. So it happens all the time, very, very common best practice in marketing, creating these landing pages. And the reason it's so common is because they work. The problem with landing pages historically has been that creating a landing page, publishing your landing page to your web server, making it look beautiful and professional, making it convert high, has often required IT assistants to do the whole kind of FTP thing, designers to make sure the landing page actually looks good. So it's a time-consuming process, too many dependencies. HubSpot fixed that. Let's look at what we did. We have an entirely redone landing pages application in HubSpot 3. It is beautiful. It is beautiful. We're going to walk through this. So first step in creating a landing page in HubSpot 3 is you pick from one of our library of gorgeous templates, and these are handcrafted by HubSpot designers that know what they're doing, conversion optimized, they're very, very cool. Now, once you've picked a landing page template, up pops this landing page editor. And here's where you can provide the headline, the body of the message. So we're going to go through this. What we're going to do here is we put the subject or the title in there. We've put some text in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually add an image to this particular landing page, because images work, help conversion rates in most cases. Now what you'll see on the right-hand side is you will see a live preview window. And what's really cool, notice that the left side is scrolling and the preview window stays with you. So as you're working on the landing page, as you're changing it, it shows you in real time what that landing page is going to look like. Yes, yes. And I will contrast this to the old way of doing it, which is I have this editor, I need to go over here to do template something, then I'm going to hit the preview button, this window pops up, oh, that's not what I was looking for, close the window, go back, change some things, hit the preview button. No, this is all in one place, preview window follows you around, very, very cool. Okay. The other thing you need on a landing page is you need the ability to put forms on your landing page. Forms to collect information from the user, information from the person at the other end. The problem with forms, without some piece of software like HubSpot, is you usually need a developer involved, because you're going to take this information, you want to take the information from the user when they fill out the form, and you want to put it in a database. Then you want that database maybe to be connected to your CRM system and synchronize with that so your leads kind of flow through and things like that. And that's relatively hard. HubSpot has made it really, really easy to create forms. Here's how it works. You have all your fields, all your custom fields, all your CRM fields, and you can drag and drop those fields onto the form. You can reorder those fields. You can change the text, and you can build this form. No programming involved, designed for mere mortals, all in one place, works really, really well. Thank you. Thank you. So here we have a landing page. Awesome, nice clean landing page, asks a few questions. But that's really cool. It's not quite awesome. It's not 1 + 1 = 3 just yet. So I'm going to ask you guys this question. A lot of you have visited the HubSpot.com website, I'm guessing. A lot of you have signed up for webinars from HubSpot, ebooks from HubSpot. And be honest, how many of you are a little bit annoyed that every time you sign up for an ebook, every time you sign up for a webinar, we ask you the same friggin' questions every single time. I thought so. I thought so. And I wasn't guessing there. Like every week, I will get tweets. And the tweets will be, I'm paraphrasing here, like, Dharmesh, really? Question mark. I mean, that's roughly, what they mean is, Dharmesh, why are you asking the same friggin' questions every single time? It's essentially, that's a long form version of that message. So I'm thrilled to announce in HubSpot 3, in the new landing page application, we have this thing called Smart Forms. And what Smart Forms let you do, and the reason they're smart, is they remember people when they come back. They look at the database and say, here are questions this particular person has already answered, so they don't have to answer them again. Very, very simple. So that form that's on the right there goes to that form, which is, oh, like just hit submit, you're done. Awesome. One small step for HubSpot, one big step for my sanity. Awesome. All right. So you have this landing page. It's professional, it's beautiful, it's got a form on it. The next step in the process is you want to drive some traffic to that landing page. And in marketing, a common way to do that is to create what's known as a call to action. And here's the 5-second version of what a call to action is. It asks the user to do something that you want them to do. It's often just a little button that says, hey, download now, sign up for a demo, request a call, whatever it is. That's a call to action button. Now, you would think a call to action button is a relatively simple thing, and it should be. The challenge with call to action buttons is to make a really professional looking, performant call to action button often requires Photoshop, often requires brushing up on your CSS skills. So it's like just professional, just right and performant. We didn't think that should be necessary, so we fixed that. Let's take a look. So in the HubSpot 3, we have a new CTA application that lets you create a call to action button. Let's jump in here. So here we're going to create a simple call to action. Notice that we have a live preview, just like we did on landing pages. We can change the color, we can change the text, we can change the size. And so now we're creating this button called Download Now. And this is going to seem relatively trivial, so hold your applause here. This is not cool enough, trust me, yet. So now we've got this button. The other problem with call to action buttons is that we love them so much. And we rightfully love them so much that we put them on all of our web pages, which is exactly what we should be doing. We have all these pieces of content out there. We're writing 50 blog articles, let's say. Those blog articles should have a call to action button because we want the person to do something. We pull them in with our content. We want to take that to the next step. Now, the problem with that is once we've built this call to action button, we kind of litter our web pages with that little piece of code to show that button, which is OK, except when you change your mind. It's like, you know what? I call the button download now, but I wonder whether something like a free ebook, if it said that instead of download now, whether that would convert higher. In order for you to answer that question without HubSpot 3, you have to, A, remember the 50 pages that you put that button on, go to those 50 pages, and change out that code. Painful, painful, painful. HubSpot 3 solves that. We have one central place for all your call to action buttons. If you want to change the button, you just jump in, pick the button, change whatever you want to change, hit save. It immediately goes out to any web page on HubSpot, off of HubSpot, doesn't matter, and the new button starts to show up. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Now, the call to action dashboard also shows us some important analytics information on click and lead tracking. Because the whole idea behind a call to action button is to, A, get people to click, right? Like, click the download now button. But more important than that, more important than just the clicks, and Rand talked about this, is we need to look deeper in the funnel. We need to know, do they actually fill the form out or not? So how many submissions do we get as a result of this call to action button going to this form? How many people make it to the second step in the process? That's an important piece of data. We pull it all together. Now, in order for you to actually, so once you start working with call to action buttons, you are going to have this desire, if you haven't already, you're going to have this question that occurs to you. It's like, you know what? I don't want to just have this call to action button. I have two variations in my head. I could call this button free ebook, and I could call this button download ebook, and I want to know which one is better. The way marketers solve this is through what's known as an A/B test. Variation A is button free ebook. Variation B is download ebook. HubSpot 3 supports A/B testing built in for these call to actions. So what happens is we put the button out there. It's one button with two variations. And what HubSpot will do is it'll split the traffic. It'll show one button 50% of the time, the other button 50% of the time, and show you the results. So in this particular example, we had about 40,000 people see the free ebook variation. We had about 40,000 people see the other one. The conversion rate to clicks, 1.4% of the people that saw the top button clicked, and only 1% of the people that saw the bottom button clicked. That's awfully handy to know, essentially, right? So all things being equal, we would pick the top button. And so you need to be testing. You need to drive your conversion rates. You need to be testing this kind of stuff. And we all have great intentions to test as marketers. We know the value of testing. The problem is not our desire. The problem is the technology has historically made it hard to do this. We've made it easy. And we show you that kind of submission number. By the way, the numbers match up. So the button this is good news. The same button that got a bunch of clicks also got a bunch of submissions. But had we seen, it's like, oh, this one got 566 clicks, but only 3 people filled out the form. That means there's something broken in the promise you're making on the button. The button's great at attracting people, and they'll click on it, but whatever the offer was doesn't match up. That's usually a symptom of that, or whatever. This kind of helps you see those kinds of problems. All right. So that's all pretty cool, but that's really just making the difficult easy. Important, but not magical. Magical is when you make the impossible possible. Magical is when you make 1 + 1 = 3. Here's what we've done in the call to action application. So let's look at a simple example here. Let's say we have a call to action, download now. And a user visits our web page, and they click that button, and they download that ebook. Now let's say that same user comes back 2 weeks later. And if we show them the same button, the same call to action, we have missed an opportunity. Right? They've already downloaded that ebook. They've already seen that. We should be giving them a different offer. We should be trying to pull them further into the business, closer to a sale, and when we show them the same call to action every single time, we miss that opportunity. So with HubSpot 3, we have this feature called Smart Calls to Action. And what makes them smart is they're wired up to the contacts database. And so these smart calls to action know everything that we know about that person. We know that they visited before. We know that they've downloaded this ebook before. So we can provide a different call to action. So this is a HubSpot example. So if you've already downloaded this particular ebook, we're going to say, hey, why not start a demo? There might be other steps in between, but this is a nice, simple example. Now this is really cool. What is super awesome is, this is a simple example, but you can drive these personalized calls to action based on any information you have about that user in the HubSpot database. I'm going to pause for dramatic effect and say this one more time. You can use any information in the HubSpot database. For instance, let's say you ask the user somewhere along the way whether they're B2B or B2C, whether they're in financial services or healthcare, everything. They visited the pricing page or they didn't visit the pricing page. They clicked on this link that we sent out over Twitter or didn't click. Based on any of that information, you can deliver a personalized CTA. This is a step on the path to creating marketing people love. This is a step down the path of drawing more value and driving our marketing results up. Very, very happy with this feature. Very, very happy. So you have this landing page. It's beautiful, it's professional, works well. You've got calls to action. They're personalized, driving people to this landing page. And now you're starting to get leads and email addresses. And you need to do something with them, right? You've got all these email addresses. What do? That's where an email marketing system comes in. Now, there are great email marketing systems out there because that industry has been around for a while. The problem with these great email marketing systems is that they're separate systems. Right? Nothing wrong with the software, nothing wrong with the applications themselves. It's just that they're separate, they're disconnected. It's a different user experience, but most importantly, it's a different database with all those analytics. More databases, more problems. Okay? marketers need to kind of pull it together, essentially, pull these databases together into one central spot, because in order for you to do the kinds of things you want to do later, you need everything in one central place. So HubSpot has built what I believe to be a world-class, next-generation email marketing system built right into HubSpot that leverages every possible opportunity that we could think of so far and had time to work on so far from HubSpot 3, all in this email marketing system. Let's take a look. All right. So similar to landing pages, the first step in this process is picking from one of the templates. Now, these can be one of our templates that we provide. You can customize them. You can upload your own and have your designers work on creating your implementation of an email template. So we go along, we pick a template, and up pops, so we'll go ahead and go through, and up pops this email editor. And the email editor is very much like the landing page editor. The idea here is to make the experience very, very smooth and easy. Everything in one place. You're not going to 7 different screens to send an email out. Everything you do is in one central place. It's very useful. Now, let's say we put the subject line in, we put the body in, we change it. Notice once again this live preview window on the right-hand side. So let's say we want to add an image to this email. So we go down, we add an image. Notice the thing follows, the preview window follows us around. Add the image here. We're going to kind of align to the left or right, and the image updates. Realize it's live previewing. That's pretty cool. And so that's great. So now an easy way to create email. Let's say you wanted to put social media buttons at the bottom of your email, which you should want to do. It's very easy because you already have your social account set up in HubSpot. You turn on whichever social media things you want on there, click, 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 and now you have social media sharing buttons on your email. And that's pretty cool. But are you guys seeing a pattern here? Yeah? Yeah? OK. But although that's really cool, it's not really magical. It's not really 1 + 1 = 3. What would make it awesome is if we could take those emails and we could personalize them in the same way that we personalize calls to action. And with HubSpot 3, you can. Let me show you. So here's us. We're going to update the subject line. We're going to update the message itself, which is pretty cool. And we can pull in any information, by the way, from the contacts database, anything that we have. If you want to put the industry that they're in the subject line, you could do that. And that's pretty cool. You can take any of the calls to action that you've built that are in the call to action library, and you can kind of drop that right into your email if you wanted to do that. One of the things that's new in the HubSpot 3 is the ability to customize the sender. So if you're integrated with, here's the use case. If you're integrated with your CRM, and you know who the sales rep is on this account, instead of having the email come from noreply@acme.com, what if we could say it's Joe, and Joe happens to be the sales rep for that particular lead? That's a useful thing. HubSpot 3 lets you do that. You can attach, essentially customize the sender, the reply to address, based on the CRM system, based on who owns that particular lead. That's pretty useful. Thank you. So the thing to remember about email, about all of this stuff, is you want to get everything into one place. And we're going to jump into workflows in just a second. More databases, more problems, more systems, more problems. We just want fewer problems. You want to maintain your sanity. Now we're going to talk a little bit about workflows. And this is the last application I'm going to show you. This is the 6th one. How are we doing so far? Everybody doing good? All right. Success for me is like not passing out on stage through just raw excitement. So I think I'm doing all right. So workflows addresses a need that's out there known as marketing automation. So there's industry out there, a category of software out there called marketing automation. And we've talked to a bunch of customers, and there's 2 kinds of feedback we get back from customers. One is marketing automation is really useful. It's like, I want to send these emails out. I don't want to have to do it manually. I want to be able to program the system and to be able to automatically send these emails out whenever I want to send them out. That's one piece of information we learned, is that marketers find that particular functionality a compelling use case. That's something they want to be able to do. Awesome. So then, the other thing we learned in talking to customers and prospective customers is that hardly anyone is actually using those features. So if we took everyone that's actually using marketing automation as it exists across the primary vendors right now, they would all fit in this room. They would. And our thesis is like, okay, well, Brian, why is that? If this thing is so useful, why aren't hundreds of thousands of people, millions of companies out there, they're all doing marketing, they're all doing email, they all want to automate, why isn't this more widespread? And the answer we came to, from feedback, is that it's just too hard. Not a single customer told us, well, the reason I haven't been using marketing automation is I've been looking for 3-level nested Boolean logic so I can compound this with this and I have this rule defined. That is not the answer we got. That is not the answer we got. The answer we got is, I've been meaning to, but that requires, there's like a $30,000 consulting project that requires like half of a developer to kind of hold all this stuff in their head, and maybe not like a full developer, but still somewhat like developer-ish. That's how business people describe categories of developers. Either you're a developer or you're developer-ish. And that's the problem, right? That's the problem, is not that the functionality across the products that are out there isn't robust. It is. It's just too hard. So HubSpot set out to fix this particular problem and solve this. And we call the application workflows. Let me show you how it works. So the idea here is, within HubSpot 3, a bunch of different things are happening. People are filling out forms, they're visiting your web pages, all these events are occurring with your organization. You can use any of those events now and trigger an automated email. It's like, oh, if someone visits, if we have a lead in the database and that lead visits our pricing page, we want to send them this email. That sounds like a reasonably cool thing to do. If someone clicks on this particular email offer that we sent out, we want to send up this follow-on offer. We want to send this other email out. We want to be able to take the stuff that's in our brains and put it in the system and automate this. And so I actually agree. This is a useful use case. Marketers should be spending less time on rote manual stuff and more time creating marketing people love, right? We're spending too much time on technology and too little time thinking about the customer. So HubSpot lets you do this. So in a very simple graphical interface, you can create these smart lists, define what kinds of people you want this series of actions to trigger for, and then you can define those actions. I want to send an email out in day 2. I want to send an email out a week later, whatever those rules happen to be. And so you can do that. You can do that relatively easily. But that's very, very cool, but it's not awesome. What would be awesome is not just sending emails out, but being able to automate anything that's automatable. I just made that word up. I don't know if that's actually a word. Automatable, including email. So let's look at a few examples. Let's say something happens, anything happens within HubSpot, and now we want to send this lead along to the CRM system because now it's sales ready. Let's say based on what we've learned and the patterns that they've had, based on web pages they've visited, we want to increase the lead score. This is a higher qualified lead than it used to be before because we know this kind of stuff happened. We want to move them from a lead to an opportunity stage. We want to deliver a personalized call to action. All of these things you can do in HubSpot 3. So the idea here is to waste less time, define the rules that we want, and be able to automate. And I'm going to geek out, because it's my last kind of bullet point of the product stuff, on the last one, because I'm not developer-ish. I'm a friggin' developer. I'm like over here. And is you can trigger a webhook. So for my developer friends out there, the idea here is that based on any event that happens within HubSpot, you can ask a piece of software to get executed when that happens. So let's say you want to build some software, whether you're a third-party HubSpot partner, whether you're a customer and you like to geek out on these kinds of things and you want to automate more, you can say, hey, when this happens, I want my custom software to run. That makes it possible to do almost anything, where you can automate large parts of your marketing, stuff that should be automated, you can automate. So that's the workflows application. Very, very powerful, very, very simple. And we think more people will use the workflows application than use marketing automation in its kind of classic sense, all combined within the next year. It's just that simple. It makes sense. Anyway, that's workflows. OK, so that was HubSpot 3. Showed you 6 applications of 10 brand new applications. Showed you a few features out of 100 new features. And while we were building all this stuff, one of the ideas that occurred to us, being good software developer people, is like, it might be nice early in the process to kind of pick out an early adopter customer. Someone that was very inboundy, a team that was like passionate about marketing, and most importantly, a team that would be demanding. they would push us and say, you know, guys, that doesn't really work. That's not right. This is how you should do it. So we found such a team to help work with us in the early days of building HubSpot 3, and we have a video to share their story. Please take a look.
I think HubSpot 3 is revolutionary, and it's going to change marketing everywhere. Inbound marketing has been a huge contributor to the overall success and growth of HubSpot. We hear all the time from customers and prospects that they love our marketing. People email me and say, I want to make sure that I'm on your email list. What marketer says that people are emailing them saying, I want to be on your email list, right? It's a very rare thing to do. Usually people are complaining and opting out and hitting the spam button. At the core, it's about being lovable. And what you want is to create a brand, a company, content, and interactions that make people want to love you and that they love to interact with. I think the biggest challenge with marketing today is tying together all the complex systems that you need in order to do marketing effectively. I'm really excited about HubSpot 3. It makes it easy for marketers to do marketing and not wrestle with their systems all day long. This is by far our biggest marketing campaign ever. And what I think is really cool about it is my entire team is using HubSpot 3 to actually do the launch of that product.
Hi, my name is Maggie and I'm part of the marketing team here at HubSpot. Today I'm working on promoting a new ebook called How to Make Marketing People Love, and this ebook is actually going to be part of our big HubSpot 3 campaign. I'm setting up the landing page for the ebook right now, and it's a very simple process because I don't need to know any HTML to set it up. I know other marketing professionals in different companies who need to wait for at least 2 weeks to request a landing page from their IT department. And my life is just so much easier. We want to build offers that people love and also build effective landing pages. So in this case, I'm going to set up an A/B test to test out the wording on the different landing pages and see which one actually resonates with our audience the best. I love building landing pages with HubSpot 3. I just love the process of dragging and dropping fields in the forms. I love the use of smart fields. And with smart fields, we know when a prospect has already come to our website, they fill out the information, so we don't need to show those fields and ask for that information again, so we can reduce the size of the form and increase conversion rates.
I'm Ellie Merman, and I'm a segment marketing manager at HubSpot. And I'm starting to work on the follow-up emails that will go into our workflow for everyone who downloads it. To set this up, I'm creating a smart list of everyone who's downloaded the ebook, whose company size is 25 to 200 employees, and has shared some of our content in social media in the past. The workflow is going to send a series of emails that I've created, including an assessment of how lovable your marketing is. It will also update a field on their contact record to mark that they are part of the HubSpot 3 campaign. HubSpot has a great centralized contacts database that tracks and provides a whole bunch of information around every contact that I have. Our sales reps use a CRM to keep track of all of their leads and opportunities, and HubSpot keeps all that data in sync with that CRM. I'm also going to promote this ebook to a segment of our existing leads. Creating my email in HubSpot 3 is really easy. First, I'm going to select my template, which is already set up for specific best practices and has been tested in different mobile browsers, email clients, so that I know that it's going to look how I want. I personalize the sender to be from an actual lead owner from our CRM. And then I customize the body of the email with the prospect's name. Adding a CTA to my email is really easy. I can just click this CTA button and it pulls up my CTA library, so I can choose from any of the buttons that I've already created and stick that into my email. I can easily add social links to my email. I just put in the landing page URL and turn on the social links. It's not just about following me, it's about sharing the content that I'm promoting to them to their social networks. The best part about emailing from HubSpot 3 is that it's really easy. Everything's all here. I don't have to jump between different tools or jump between different tabs, which of course saves a ton of time for me and cuts down my email anxiety.
Hey, I'm Kip from the HubSpot marketing team. And I'm working on a blog post that's going to be part of our HubSpot 3 marketing campaign. Once we publish this and the other blog posts, they're going to go out to our social media followers, to our blog subscribers, and they're going to be a great way to promote the content around HubSpot 3. And as I'm working on the blog post, one thing I really love about the software is that it gives me recommendations. It tells me what keywords I should use, helps me better optimize the post for search engines. I can also click on the call to action module right in the blog post and insert a call to action at the end of my post. I'm using an awesome new feature that's part of HubSpot 3, and that's the new Smart CTA. It not only lets me upload and display my calls to action on my blog or my website, but it also lets me determine who is actually going to see those calls to action. If somebody's already downloaded our ebook on how to make their marketing more lovable, we don't want to show them a call to action for that ebook again. I want to show them a different call to action, maybe for a free assessment to find out how lovable their marketing is, where we're going to connect them with a specialist here at HubSpot. That makes our marketing feel a lot more personal, a lot more like you would get recommendations from Amazon and Netflix. The best thing about this too is I can A/B test my different call to action variants to determine which one works for a specific audience. Blog content is great fuel for social media marketing. It gives you something to talk about in the different social networks. The awesome thing about HubSpot is we have the social media publishing tool. And so the social media publishing tool makes it really easy for me to find all of my blog posts and all of my landing pages right in the tool and promote them. So let's take the ebook for the HubSpot 3 campaign. I can take that, schedule it, and what's great is that the app even recommends to me what time that ebook should go out, and that's based on research we've done here at HubSpot. I'm really excited about is the social media contacts tool. What it does is it gives me really good insight into how the people in my contacts database are interacting with me in social media. So I can see who is sharing my content and clicking on my content on Facebook and on Twitter.
I love that HubSpot's analytics are actually built for marketers. As a CMO, the most important data or metrics that you're looking at is about tying your marketing back to the results it's actually achieving. And if you can't measure those things as a CMO, you're not going to be around for a long time. Other analytics will give you the number of people that have done certain things, but it doesn't allow you to dive into an individual person and see everything that that individual person has done. What I want are reports that roll up by the different sources, the different marketing activities that I'm actually pursuing, and that to me is just really, really powerful and frankly unique about HubSpot's approach to analytics because it's built for marketers. I think HubSpot 3 is going to revolutionize the world of marketing. For the first time ever, you've got a system that has all the ease of use that you need, along with the power that you require in order to get great marketing results. We built HubSpot 3 for marketers who love marketing. Everything we do at HubSpot is for the love of marketing.
Let's hear it for HubSpot 3. Cool. Yeah, I've been using HubSpot now for 6 years. I'm one of the more active users of the HubSpot product, and it's improved more in the last 2 months than it has than I've ever seen. The pace of innovation has dramatically increased, and the product's getting a lot better. Just amazing. I'm really proud of it. Some of you are probably asking yourselves a couple of questions about HubSpot 3, right? And one question you might ask yourself is it looks pretty good. What do I get? You know, I've got HubSpot Basic, or I've got HubSpot Pro, or HubSpot Enterprise. What part of HubSpot 3 do I get? And I want to give you all a to-do list. I'd rather you did it after the presentation, but the to-do list is to go to HubSpot.com/3, and we lay out the details of which parts of HubSpot 3 are in each edition. I think you'll all be really happy. Everybody gets some HubSpot 3. It's going to be really cool. A second kind of piece of logistics you may be asking yourselves is, when do I get it? Looks really cool, Dharmesh. Love those new features. When do I get it? Well, the good news about that is the software's done. We just need to migrate folks over, and that'll take a couple months. If you want to know when you specifically get HubSpot 3, log into your HubSpot, and up at the top of your dashboard there, it'll show you when you get it, when it's going to get rolled out to you. But the software's done. It's going to be rolling out to you. I've been using it for the last couple months, and it's just awesome. Okay? 2 to-dos. Go check HubSpot.com/3. Go check your portal, your HubSpot portal, for when you're going to get it. Okay. There's one thing about HubSpot. I use it all the time. It's one thing that's always really irritated me about it. I really like the software. I use it all the time. But I can never take it with me. I can never take it with me to the Sox game, to my stupid Grateful Dead concerts, and I can never take it with me all over the place when I travel. Until today. So today, we're thrilled to announce the first time we're releasing it, shipping today. HubSpot's available on the iPhone. 3 applications on the iPhone, three applications that are really cool. I want to show them to you real quickly. First application is the dashboard app. I really like the HubSpot dashboard app. What I like about it is that's my place where I can keep track of our marketing department. How are we doing this month on our leads numbers, on our visitors numbers, on our customers numbers, and we can track it using that cool new kind of burn down chart type of technology. So really cool app, dashboard app on the iPhone. The second app that's available on there is actually my personal favorite app in HubSpot, the Sources app. Who loves the Sources app? Love the Sources app. The Sources app is my absolute favorite app, and something very exciting has happened with the Sources app. We've rebuilt it from the bottom up. It's part of HubSpot 3. It's got a fresh new look. It's better. It's more accurate. I'm loving the new Sources app, and I love the fact it's available on HubSpot 3 on the iPhone, so I can take it with me wherever I go. The third app that's available on the iPhone is that new Contacts app that Dharmesh showed. And this is particularly useful for sales reps. So let's say one of your sales reps on your team is on the road. Right from within the Contacts app, they can search, find their contacts. They can email them right from within the Contacts app. They can call them right within the Contacts app. And then what they can do is they can go and browse that really cool new timeline view of what the contacts has been doing and get all kinds of updates on what. So sales reps now can take contacts on the road and really be empowered. Super, super excited about the Contacts app on the iPhone. Okay, a couple more things from me. HubSpot's kind of an unusual company. I don't know if people have noticed that we're a little unusual. And the way we're unusual is we're not a typical software company. We're a little different. We're kind of mixed in with this kind of inbound marketing movement. And the way we kind of see ourselves in kind of our mission is we want to kind of power this marketing transformation, this kind of inbound marketing movement. And part of that is building software. So we're really proud of the software we built with HubSpot 3, super pumped about it. But it's not just about software. We also do a bunch of other interesting stuff to help this kind of movement along. We have this new HubSpot Academy that's really cool that people should check out. Go to academy.hubspot.com. It's our sort of new ongoing education. We run dozens of live webinars a week with HubSpotters to teach you how to create marketing people love. We've hired tons of new support reps, and we've lowered our support wait time to under a minute. We're really investing in the human side, the teaching side. We write books, we create free graders, we do a lot of stuff. One big piece of this puzzle that we build and that we think is helpful is we're creating these 2 new, very interesting marketplaces. And I'm not sure who's used the marketplaces, but I wanted to give you an update on them because I think they're key pieces of the puzzle to really help you do marketing people love, really connect the 1 + 1 = 3. And so the first marketplace I want to talk about is the app marketplace. I want to hear from everyone who's used an app in the app marketplace. Okay. So we're making a lot of progress in the app marketplace. There's a couple things I really like about it. So for those of you who haven't used it, HubSpot's basically opened itself up, opened up APIs, and let third parties take their applications and connect them to HubSpot, kind of 1 + 1 = 3 style, or enable you to build a native app right inside of HubSpot. Really, really cool. And there's been 50 other companies who have built applications on top of HubSpot. What I really like about this is we can't keep up with all the changes that are going on. And so these third-party companies have very cool innovations, and they're able to connect them into HubSpot. So we really get this 1 + 1 = 3 effect. So very, very happy about the progress there. There's 70 or 80 apps. There's a couple I'd like to point out that I'm particularly proud of. Hootsuite's built a very cool app, our sponsor here, where they take our contacts information and our leads information and they import it basically into Hootsuite. And then within Hootsuite, you can sort of track what your leads are doing in social media. So you get this 1 + 1 = 3 effect between Hootsuite and HubSpot that's really, really hot. Cool? BigCommerce. There's 2 or 3 shopping cart providers. BigCommerce is one of them that has their shopping cart in our marketplace. For those of you who are B2C, there's a bunch of shopping carts there, and HubSpot works really well for you now, kind of 1 + 1 = 3. PR Newswire. All of you probably know PR Newswire. They're in the kind of press release distribution business. They're sort of modernizing themselves, and they're modernizing the press release distribution business. So they've got an app in the marketplace that I really like. It's very interesting. Where when I create content, let's say I create a blog article inside of HubSpot. I'm writing the article inside of HubSpot. I publish it. Everybody knows that inside of HubSpot, when you publish a blog article, it pushes out to your subscribers, it pushes out to Twitter, it pushes out to Facebook. Now PR Newswire has built an app that every time you create a piece of content, you can push it out through their press release distribution service. So really cool, 1 + 1 = 3. Way to go, PR Newswire. Okay. Eventbrite, all of you have actually used the Eventbrite app that's running on the HubSpot platform, because we use the Eventbrite's app to manage this event. So if you want to manage an event, you got an event coming up like this, it's bigger or smaller, use Eventbrite to manage your events. It's completely integrated into HubSpot. You get this 1 + 1 = 3 effect using Eventbrite. Give it up for Eventbrite's app. It's awesome. Okay. There's another marketplace that we've built that's making unbelievably good progress. Who out there has tried the service marketplace? Okay, a bunch of folks have tried it. I love the service marketplace. What we're trying to do is create a very efficient market for our customers to find service providers and agencies to really help them out with their work. And there's a couple things I like about the HubSpot service marketplace. You can go and you can find an agency to do something very small for you, like create a blog article, or very big for you, like completely outsource your inbound marketing to somebody. And so there's about 20, 25 different services on the service marketplace that you can select from. And what I like about when you're selecting from the service marketplace is the way you sort and select is very unique. So when we talk to marketers, we talk to our customers about their experiences with agencies, they've got a couple of issues with agencies. One is the pricing isn't all that transparent. It's hard to figure out an efficient price with an agency, and the haggling is kind of a pain. And the second is it's hard to kind of figure out sort of the sizzle from the steak between the agencies that really get it and the agencies that just say they get it. So within our our services marketplace, very interesting the way it works. You can sort by price, so you can find the low price provider, or you can sort by performance. And the way we figure out if the partner is performing above and beyond the call of duty is for every partner that's doing their work, they use the HubSpot platform to track it, and so everyone's sort of rated by their kind of performance uplift for their different customers they provide. So brand new, interesting functionality inside the service marketplace. Everybody go check it out. It's going to be really cool. And these marketplaces are going to be a big part of our innovation going forward. You'll see over the next year a lot of innovation coming out of that app marketplace, a lot of innovation coming out of that service marketplace. And kind of we at HubSpot, we want to be like your iPhone. We want to create that 1 + 1 = 3 experience. We want you to turn to HubSpot for all your, all your software that you need, and all your service providers that you need, and all the knowledge you need to do marketing people love, and the telephone number to call if you get stuck. We want to be that kind of one-stop shop, kind of like your iPhone. And so that's sort of our vision. I want to show you a quick video of how we use our service marketplace internally. I hope you like it.
I'm Arjun Murthy. I'm part of the team putting the finishing touches to the HubSpot app and service marketplace for the launch of HubSpot 3. The app marketplace is all about customizing HubSpot software based on add-ons from third parties. And the services marketplace is about finding service providers to perform various services on your HubSpot software for you. There are a couple of updates to the service marketplace. The first is a search interface that's designed and built around the customer. So whereas before you would search by keywords or categories, now what the search interface says is, what problem are you trying to solve, and what industry are you in, so that we can find the best service provider for you. The other update that's very interesting for the services marketplace is how providers are reviewed and rated. It's no longer just about a portfolio of pretty pictures, but really about the results that they can deliver. HubSpot customers have some of the best ideas on how to extend HubSpot and personalize it for their needs. And with HubSpot 3, this is easier than ever before. The app marketplace has received a number of updates as well. We now have an app from Hootsuite, and so that's really exciting. A second one is BigCommerce, and it makes it easy to do reorder marketing and abandoned shopping cart nurturing. And a third one that I'm really excited about is Eventbrite. In fact, we used it for inbound ourselves. It makes it really nice and easy to segment your audiences for your events and customize your messaging to them. The vision for HubSpot 3 is this idea of 1 + 1 = 3. that if you take two individual pieces and put them together, it's far more powerful than each of them by themselves. And with HubSpot 3, the software plus the marketplace, you actually get 1 + 1 = 3.
So this is a time in the presentation where folks start to get restless. I'm going to tell you we have less than 7 minutes. I'm going to get through this really quickly. It's going to be great. One of the things I thought of as I was stepping up here is like we should have a drinking game at HubSpot. Every time someone says 1 + 1 = 3, everybody drinks. Essentially, that would be. So I'm going to wrap up here. So I've talked a lot about HubSpot 3, and one of the things I want to make sure you kind of understand, you've seen a lot of features. You've seen lots of things that like impact you directly. The funny thing is, you're really seeing the tip of the iceberg. Most of the work in HubSpot 3 is actually under the covers. It's designing this brand new database. It's upgrading the user experience so it's consistent across everything. Lots of groundwork has been laid. So my expectation, not to put pressure on our product team, is that what we're going to see over the next year is going to be, what you're going to see over the next year is going to be even more than you saw in the past year. Because we're just in the zone now. We've got a lot of the infrastructure stuff worked out. We're very excited about things that are coming ahead. So you might be wondering, okay, well, what kinds of things? I want to make a couple of quick notes. One is HubSpot's growing. We're just growing. We expect to continue to grow. We have supportive investors, supportive community and customers. It's about 400 people now. We expect that to continue to go, so we're excited about that. In terms of product development, we've talked a lot today, because that's a lot of what we've been working on is this context. How do we get this database in place? How do we start doing these integrations? What we'll do over the course of the next year, work is already starting, is kind of stepping back and looking at some of our content applications. One of the ones I'm most passionate about, HubSpot's blog runs on it, my personal blog on startups runs on it, is looking at the content applications like the blogging app. So we're going to go back. Who wants like improvements to the blogging app? There's kind of overdue. Yeah. So we're going to do that. But other than that, I think the vision is laid out. We've kind of scoped it out. We know what we need to do. A lot of these things are early glimpses into kind of what's possible. We're very excited about them, but they're early glimpses. Imagine that kind of stuff and us digging deeper into those integrations. I'm not going to give it all away. Obviously, we're going to share some things. But, and as proud as we are of what HubSpot has built, we are really still the tool belt. We really are. We're the technology provider. We're the tool belt. You guys are superheroes. And I don't mean that to be cliched or whatever. You really are. You're the ones out there actually transforming marketing. We'll show you stuff. We've got passionate people that will teach you. We've got tools that will help you, but you are the superheroes. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Yeah, right.
See, this is where like I should have paused at just the right moment and made eye contact with like this portion of the audience or something, and the applause would have happened organically, so, from what I've heard. Okay. So the other question is, what's next for inbound marketing, the movement? Because it is not just an idea now, it's a movement. And I have a couple of quick answers for that. One is growth. It's just starting. It's big, but it's just starting. A few years from now, you guys are going to think back on this day, this week, and you're going to be like, yeah, you know what? I went to the inbound marketing conference back when it was just 2,800 people. And like we all kind of fit in a room, and everybody could see the stage, whatever. Back then, it was just so small. A few years from now, it's going to be massive, 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 massive. So we're looking. And what this drives, as a result of this kind of growth, is it creates really big, big opportunities for all of you, for all of us, essentially, is because it's anytime there's massive change, this tidal wave of change, there are new career opportunities, there are new things to do, new businesses to get started. It's very exciting times. Marketing is an exciting place to be, so I think that's one of the things that will happen. We are going to shift focus as marketers away from campaigns, away from what we want, and towards what people want, what users want, essentially. And as a result of that shift, marketing is going to become a more noble profession. It is. It's going to become a more noble profession. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of going to cocktail parties and someone asks me what industry I'm in, and I say marketing, and my eyes avert down just a little bit. It's like, it's not, it's like, and that shouldn't be the case. Doctors and nurses, awesome, right? Saving lives, helping people. By the way, that's #1 in that Gallup survey. High school teachers, awesome. teaching the next generation. Marketers, also awesome, helping businesses grow, driving the economy. It's a noble profession. We just need to change how we do it. And then one last closing thought. I have said a very limited number of insightful things in my life. Very, very limited. One of them, if I had to have one thing that would like define who I am and what I believe, is my definition of success. And I was asked this at a class I did at MIT a while back, and they kind of caught me off guard. And here's my answer. My answer is success is making those that believed in you look brilliant. That's success. That's all it is. If you can do that, you have won. So if you are the new director of inbound marketing at some manufacturing firm in Ohio, you succeed when your client, the company that hired you, looks brilliant for having hired you. If you are a new inbound marketing agency in Australia, as there is one here, you look brilliant when you help educate the customers, educate the world, and pull people into this marketing. If you are a technology provider, you look brilliant when your customers look brilliant. I want to thank you all for coming. This has been an indescribable experience, Everything that we do at HubSpot, every employee that gets up in the morning, every time we go to bed, we do it all for the love of marketing. Thank you so much. This has been awesome.